Hi, Greg Fann, the Preacher Man, inviting you to check us out with Straight Talk each and every Tuesday from 7 until 8. That's myself, Greg Fann, the Preacher Man, and Shannon E. Jones, asking you to share with your Facebook friend. And if you'd like to be a guest on the program, all you got to do is go to straighttalk1362@gmail.com. That's straighttalk1362@gmail.com. Or you can call 443-080795. It's Straight Talk.
Now tune in to Straight Talk Live with Greg Fann, where you are invited to have open discussions of topics ranging from social, political, economics, religious, or just open dialogue. So now, let's get to talking with Greg.
Well, welcome to another edition of Straight Talk with yours truly, Greg Fann, the Preacher Man, and Shannon E. Jones. We certainly trust and hope that you had yourself a happy and a safe Thanksgiving holiday. You enjoyed your family and friend via Zoom call, FaceTime, that you were there with your family, and that you had a great time enjoying family and just, eating, relaxing, and just being thankful for this day and for every day, right? Okay, we're coming up in just a minute with Shannon E. Jones, and he's going to be here with us today, and we're going to have a great program as always. And we ask that you share it with your Facebook friend, and if you'd like to be a guest, you certainly can be a guest right here on Straight Talk just by going out to straighttalk1362@gmail.com, or you can call area code 443-080795. Love for you to be a guest here on the program, here on Straight Talk. Well, be right back with Shannon. I'm just glad that he showed up today. I'm just glad he showed up today. This guy right here is too much to be too much. He is too much to be too much. And I'm just telling you, his name is Shannon E. Jones. Yes. See, he wants to talk about my Steelers. He wants to talk about my Steelers. 40 what? They win one. Look at. They win one. Look at. They win one game and they still in the tank. And you talking about? They should have said some of them scores for this week. They should have said some of them scores for this Sunday.
You making fun of? You calling us lying?
Last.
Well, the Bible said.
The Bible said the first shall be last, but the last been last so long they still last. They can talk about Matt Ryan and how many touchdowns he done thrown and everything else, but it doesn't make any difference. Let's go Steelers.
The Steelers and the Ravens are going to get together.
They are going to get together.
It's going to be a truth session.
And it's going to be a truth session. Let me tell you how truth is going to be. Let me tell you how truth is going to be. I'm telling you how truth is.
Big more boys send you home in body bags.
Well, that's all right. Let me tell you something.
I'm just trying to tell you.
We've already taken care of them one time. It doesn't make any difference. We'll take care of them again. We're the steel curtain. We are the steel curtain. The steel curtain. The dirty tower. That's what we are. Oh! I cannot.
The man got on Steelers shoes, socks. He has the Steelers pajamas. Look, oh my God. Lord have mercy.
I got to keep my mask on because I'm not too sure about you.
Ain't gonna let them paint that house black.
Oh man,
that's gonna end right now.
Oh well, we already got a black and gold room with Steelers on it already. Got it in my office at the church, my office at home. I mean, go Steelers!
Jesus stuff in his office. It's all Steelers.
Oh, Jesus stuff is in there. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. But because the reason you don't see anything in there because I don't let you come in there because you're a hater. You are a hater. That's what you are. You're a hater. Well, Shannon, this is real talk. Real talk. Oh man, God, Pastor Ramsey, we got Pastor Charles Ramsey on the phone, man. He's calling in. Hey, how you doing, Charles?
Hey, how y'all doing?
Man, we're doing good. We're doing good, man. How you doing? I called you back, man.
I know it, man. We were playing phone tag.
I know, brother. I understand. You may have meetings are busy, man. Anybody walk around seminary with collar all on their neck and stuff in between classes and whatnot. Y'all serious. And you're busy. I understand it.
You know what, man? Pastor Ramsey, Pastor
Looking
Ramsey.
like the College of Cardinals.
Hey,
Looking like the College of Cardinals. Sitting up in
Pastor Ramsey. Pastor Ramsey.
sitting up in systematic theology.
The only thing you have to do, Pastor Ramsey, is just don't pay him any attention. He's a hater.
So I know y'all do this.
Let me tell you something. Let me tell you something. He's a hater. He hates the Steelers and love the Falcons and all of that, man. Don't pay him no attention.
Reverend Ramsey, I want you to be in prayer for the bishop. The bishop is going what we call still a stir crazy. Hey, man, thank you for calling in today and on the program. As we were talking last week about, Pastor Warnock and you being a preacher, man of the cloth, as Shannon has so eloquently stated, that, with all the things that's going on in this race, and the lies that are being told, and you know how I feel, and we shared this before in terms of this race, but, as a man of the cloth, and we see the lies that's being told on this man of the cloth and calling him a radical, what's your position, and what do you think about the commercials and the lies that are being told?
Well, first of all, let me say, we already know it is a ploy from the Republican Party to try to enlist fear among people, especially to their base. So they say stuff like defund the police. He is a radical. They try to put him, first of all, you know how I feel about Jeremiah, right?
Right.
And they take him out of context.
Mm-hmm.
And they have taken out Reverend Warnock out of context. They have taken him out of context. As long as I've known Dr. Warnock, he has always been about empowering people, especially those that have been disenfranchised. That's his ministry. The man pastors Martin Luther King Jr.'s church. I mean, what else? I mean, all that other stuff is to rally up their base.
We certainly concur, we agree, and I know last week program, that's what we talked about. Shannon, has been there with him as his executive. When they say that he's a radical, I'm like, man, call me a radical, but don't call him a radical, because he is nowhere near like a Greg Fann. I mean, that's just for real.
Or Donald Trump. Absolute radical.
He's a real radical. He's a rascal radical.
Right. If you say Reverend Warnock is a radical, he is a radical trying to make people's lives better.
Exactly.
But to make that other stuff up, it's just mess.
About
getting health care, he is concerned about health care. He has been talking about, since I've been listening to him, he has always been talking about health care and always talking about helping the disenfranchised. That's his ministry.
Absolutely.
Social justice. I mean, that's him.
Yeah. He told me to come to a rally with him on health care. Next thing I know, I'm eating a bologna and cheese sandwich in jail. Because he was that serious about it. But they've got a website now out, and I'm not going to say the name of the website because I don't want to draw attention to it. They got a commercial there where they're talking about it, and when you go on and they just systematically go through a bunch of things about him, and when you read the words that he's saying, as I was reading the words from his sermons, it could have been Martin Luther King Jr. So really, what they're calling a radical is they're calling the social gospel that is preached by marginalized people radical. The message that he spoke about Israel, he's certainly not anti-Israel. He's not an anti. In fact, the chairman of the CEO of the Anti-Defamation League and he are pretty good friends. So that's clearly not the case. But when he talked about the Palestinians, Dr. King would be talking about the Palestinians. He would be talking about a two-state solution. He would be talking about the fact that they were being disenfranchised by them. He would be speaking about that. And when you read those words, they are really just going against prophetic teaching. And I'm wondering how long is it going to take for them to do a commercial to say that a Georgia senator is anti-Martin Luther King Jr.
Well,
that's what because she's going to sit up there on January the 20th. She's going to sit up there at Ebenezer Baptist Church. Well, if she loses, she won't. But she sat there before. But if you can't say that you love the teachings of Martin Luther King Jr. and hate the pastor of Martin Luther King's church who continues to preach the same teaching in the context of today that Dr. King taught in the context of his day.
Right, exactly.
Well, let me just chime in terms of as minister, when we talk about taking things out of context, and all of us as pastors who are social justice pastors, you can pick any of our message. Unless you come out of our experience, the black experience, you can't identify with it. You can, because we're speaking from the black experience. We're speaking from the experience of the children of Israel that were in bondage. We're speaking from that experience because that's who we are. I don't know if either one of you all watched 60 Minutes last night. Did you watch it last night, Pastor Ramsey?
Yes.
No, I did not.
I was not really. There are a couple of things I want to talk about in terms of that. Is that they were talking about African Town in Alabama. I didn't know it was such a place. It's called African Town in Alabama. Neither did I know that they had a slave ship where they were still bringing people in as slaves in Alabama, even though it was illegal to do that, but they still brought them in, and that's how those people end up in a place in a town called African Town. Now we go back and look at our history. We talk about Black Wall Street and everything, and they were talking about how African Town was solely controlled by black people. They had black businesses, black barbershop, black stores, and everything. And let me just share with you, their history was, because they had the boat that had been sunk or burnt, they would start finding parts of that. And the state of Alabama is putting so much money in trying to reconstruct that boat that was sunk. However, the point that I want to make is that when you talk about African Town, this is what they did. This is our experience. They ran the major highway through African Town. They did that. Disenfranchised those black people. Then they put in industries that were environmental not friendly in the neighborhood. And that's what they do to black folks, and that's what they have done to black folks for years. I mean, because that's where they put the landfills, that's where they put those industrial waste of hazardous material in those black communities. And many of us are experiencing that today because of that. So that was a great interview on 60 Minutes. Do you have anything you want to comment on that?
No, I saw it and it's
Don't you say you didn't have nothing to say? He always got something to say.
I can see where, but it just speaks to the historical narrative of what always has happened to us in our communities. But it was a touching, very touching piece last night. Also caught the Chris Krebs
interview too. But I want to get to Chris Krebs interview too. But I want to just say that this is, when I was talking about, we talking from our experience. When Reverend Wright was talking, he was talking from our experience. When Pastor Warnock is talking, he's talking about our experience. When he's talking about mass incarceration, he's talking about black kids who've been put in jail for a nickel bag or a dime bag of marijuana that's in jail for life in many states. In many states throughout this country, people are spending life sentences for just having a bag of weed.
And God's supposed to bless that.
And God's supposed to bless that. So I mean, so when
a system that does that.
A system, and that's what he was talking about.
Exactly.
Let our people go.
That's right.
Let our people go. Stop using mass mass incarceration and going back to slavery when they were locking black folks up after slavery, locking them up. The sheriff was taking their land. They were locking them up for make-believe crime and had them working in the chain gang. We're right back to that again. That's all he was saying. He's talking about our experience. And if black folks can't identify with that, then they ain't a part of our experience.
Right. And and it's for us to make that point, because in a political interview, Warnock is not going to be able to make that, he's not going to be able to crystallize that so that the masses of people can understand that a God that blesses you can also spank you. Mm-hmm. Just like a mom and daddy that hugs you and loves you can grab you and put you over their knee and wear your butt out like my daddy did.
Whoa, Jesus. Thank you, Horace. You should have laid a little longer.
So he could bless me and he could damn me at the same time. All right.
So, that's a black experience.
That's a black experience. So a God that blesses you in one hand can also look at the evil that you have done and God damn you for the things that you have done wrong. Hey, listen, and that's what Reverend Wright is.
Let me just say this. You just made me think about when I was getting this chastisement, from my mom, and she was saying, well, this hurt me more than it hurt you.
In Black America, this gonna hurt me more than it hurts you. Sometimes I think Daddy be with me from stuff other folk did. Don't fire me. I'm gonna get you spanked.
Pastor Ramsey, that's the black experience, isn't it?
That's the black experience. And that's what everybody don't understand the black experience.
Everybody don't understand the black experience.
Right.
They don't.
So it's for us to crystallize that.
And they think the black experience is just listen to our music and then you can relate to it. But no, that's different from living it.
Yeah.
Yeah, look at they can't identify with Still Away. They don't know what's Still Away. They don't know about Still Away.
We still on the way from there.
Take Me to the Wall. They don't know nothing about all them songs.
Everybody
they don't know
about
him. Well,
thank y'all so much, man.
No, thank you for just joining us today, man.
But man, hold on. Ramsey. Let me show you how the interview goes. We thank you. You don't get off on us, just gonna leave us on the air. You talk as long as we got there, you gonna thank us and leave us.
Ain't that something?
Hey, that's funny. That's something. I'm telling man, needs something. Well, thank y'all very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you so very much, Pastor Ramsey. Thank you, man. Hey, but one thing before you go, if you got a minute, just a minute, want to talk about this thing with Donald don't want to give up the presidency.
Oh,
and last night also, Shannon was about to allude to, they had the gentleman who was over the cybersecurity for elections, and Brother Chris, and the question was asked of him, was this a safe election? He said sure, and the guy read to him what Donald Trump had tweeted. And saying that he said that he had lied, that we had this interference and that interference from this country and that country. He said there was no interference. He said that's why we had paper ballots, because you could always count those paper ballots along with the machine to make sure that was checked and balanced. He said you can tell by every state that did it that the numbers were pretty much accurate. Right. They wasn't there for all. But Donald Trump want to continue to believe that this somehow, somewhere there was some foreign intervention, but we know when he got elected it was, right? So now he didn't get that intervention this time, he lost. But he's not willing to give it up and want to be like, somebody stole this election. But what I hate for the brother who's a Republican, he talked about all the Republican secretaries of state and how it was demeaning to he called all the women's name first, how demeaning it was to them, because they were protecting democracy, right. Not the party, but democracy. Right. Then he talked about our Secretary of State Russenberger, right. Protecting democracy, not the party. I am afraid, and I want to hear your comment on this. I am afraid. You and Shannon, one of y'all, I am afraid that the president is coming here to try to get Mr. Russenberger to do away with absentee ballots in the upcoming runoff that's going to be on January 5th, so that Ms. Loeffler and Mr. Perdue can win those races. I'm very afraid that they're trying to pressure him to, and the governor, who we know, who was Secretary of State and ran his own election to become the governor, purged the role and everything. So, you know, as Reverend Max said, we didn't go to war when that happened. We just came back with another plan. However, we know what was going on. We know the Secretary of State was the governor, and he refused to recuse himself from the election or to step down as he was running, and he ran his own election. So we don't want that to happen again. We don't want the president to come into Georgia, Mr. Trump to come into Georgia and try to strong arm Mr. Ratzenberger and Governor Kemp to get the two Republican senators elected. So what I want to hear you guys comment on that.
Let Ramsey go first.
Okay.
I think Ratzenberg showed himself that he is a man that is going to be about integrity and about the law of the land. He has been basically, I want to use the right word now, he has basically been talked about by the president and by several other Republicans. But he has kept the Constitution and has kept the law of the land when it comes to the voting. I think the realization of it is this, is that the President Trump is hurt and upset and mad and trying to figure out how he lost that election. He thought that he was going to win. He thought by spreading negativity, tweeting every day for the last 4 years and saying what he wants to say, treating people and making laws to hurt people, that was going to help him get elected. He forgot that there were enough people in this country that had enough of his mess and enough of him. So they strategized, as you said, Bishop Fann, they strategized. And they voted his behind out. And so that's what my take is on it. So he needs to pack his stuff and say bye-bye.
Well, he's a sore loser. He said he don't like losing. He said that publicly. He said, I don't like losing.
Yeah,
I don't like losing.
That he can't take a loss. And psychologically, if he is the narcissist or the sociopath that his niece and other psychologists and psychiatrists have alluded to, then he's just completely unstable. Even this, I'm gonna jump here and jump right back. This assassination in Iran, that the Israelis are possibly, there's talk that the Israelis possibly had something to do with it. There's this, it's out there, but it has not been confirmed. But they had the former chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff on, and he was talking about the danger that this president, that this type of president, the danger that he brings to the world stage, because he could possibly do something that would cause the next administration, the Biden administration, a huge problem. And so as he exits, we could be on a war footing with Iran, perhaps, with this. But let me just jump back to just talk about, not only is he a sore loser, he's dangerous. But let me jump back to him coming to town. I think it's going to be a coup for the Democratic strategists for him to come to town, because I think that the president right now is unhinged. And I think that instead of people speaking truth to power, and he still has power as president, I think that they're just allowing him to just be the bull in the china shop and just tear things up as he's going along, not trying to hold on. He has pissed off Ratzenberger. He has pissed off the governor. So it'd be interesting to see if they're going to be there when Air Force One comes in. He said that he was very, he said yesterday that he resents choosing this governor and supporting the governor for for governor, Governor Brian Kemp. So
he's been mad at him twice, then, right?
So there's going to be
he was mad at him because he put Kelly instead of
Doug Collins.
Yeah.
So we're going to see there's infighting in the state party, and there's infighting in the national party about this president, and he's coming now to Georgia, and Georgia's hot. And he's coming to stir. So he's going to come here. Why would you go meet him at the airport and go stand at a rally when all he's going to do is talk about how the Secretary of State and the governor and all these people caused him not to win Georgia? He's going to be demonizing them, which is going to cause more fraction, and I think it's going to play into the hands of the Republican strategy. I think it's going to be good for Ossoff and Warren.
You mean the Democratic Party?
Democratic strategies, right, yeah. Right, and I think it's going to be good for Ossoff.
See, that's one of those preachers' fraudulent slip up. Yeah. Just like we talk about Warnock. Yeah. You know, we talk about God and military. Yeah. He talk about God and mammon. That's one of those slip ups. Right. We as preachers, we do that, right, Pastor Ramsey? Right. We may say Peter, but we talking about Paul, right?
Right. But actually, he did say that.
Yeah.
No, he meant that, but he was talking about militarism. He was talking about, Dr. King talked about those triplicate evils, and he was talking about the triplicate evils of one of them is militarism. And Warnock, in that sermon, said that you cannot serve God and militarism or the military, but he didn't mean that you couldn't. Now, he's talking to generals and stuff that are deacons. So he ain't saying that you can't serve God and be in the armed forces. He was just talking about the expanse of what militarism does. So he did mean to say that.
Really? But why did he come back? But why did he come back and then say God and mammon then?
Why did he?
Why did he? If he meant to say,
because he was talking about, because in that sermon,
okay,
he was talking about.
So was he calling?
You can't serve God and money, and you can't. And America's money, America's forefooting around the world is its military might and power that he puts on there.
Right.
And so in serving that, he said we have to be able to speak truth even to the military.
Right.
That you can't serve God and say, well, I'm just going to allow the military to do what it is. So he talked about God and mammon. He talked about God and the military.
Okay, all right. So I stand to be corrected. You were sitting there and you were sitting there listening, and you were sitting there, but then you were listening to in the context of what he was saying.
Yeah.
As opposed to.
But when I saw that, I'm like, oh man.
Yeah.
I said they took that, but I mean they can do that to any of us.
Yeah, well, you know,
we can do that.
I just took one eye contact. Did you did?
But you saved me, I guess, because I said Republican strategy.
Yeah,
I meant Democratic strategy.
You meant Democratic.
That's gonna play into the hand.
But they can cut that. But they can cut that though. They can cut that. He just didn't want that. You said it. But you so said it.
I said it.
He said it. Didn't he say it? Yeah, he said it. So Shannon, Pastor Randall was trying to say something to you, and you would not let this enemy preach you in.
Ramsey?
Said it already.
Say it, Randall.
Already. When you said that there is infighting in the Republican Party, you said it. Because I was going to raise that too. But you already said it, Doc.
Well, you can say, put your spin on it.
No, I said it eloquent.
Oh, you did? Right. But you can't always let him say it eloquent, because you are an AMP preacher and you can say it eloquent too. You're the pastor of New St. John AME Church in Fann, Georgia, the Epic Center. Are y'all feeding this weekend? Y'all feeding this week?
I will find out tomorrow.
Okay. You guys have been doing a good job down there. I just want to commend you for that in terms of feeding people, as well as COVID testing and all the things that you're doing down there in the Epic Center in Fann, Georgia. You and Pastor Danita Jones and Bishop Aaron be lacking Temple of Prayer and in his great name ministry, Pastor Jones. But thank you so very much for joining us today. Oh, really, Shannon she's someday I'm Jose, and then he's Allie Pat. Then someday I'm Allie Pat and he's Jose. We just
Kevin Hart and Eddie Murphy. Ramsey, thank you.
Thank you, man.
I had an uncle that went to your church, man. Great church.
Is Uncle Young?
Well, AME, we come from AME.
Oh, really?
Yeah, AME family. That's
Okay.
right. That's how I can talk about AMEs like that. You can't, now if you don't come from AME, you can't talk about
Well,
it.
my family here be too.
Oh, well, you can talk about
my uncle
it.
was presiding bishop.
Okay.
Yeah, and I didn't know all of that then.
Lord, presiding bishop.
He was a presiding
That's
bishop.
the briefcase
Yeah, he was
bishop. That's
the
the one they bring the
Yeah,
money
he
to.
was. That bishop. Okay. Hey, anyway, no, he was not a presiding bishop. My uncle was actually a presiding elder. But anyway, yeah, but that's the same thing. That's a lower standard, but same thing. But anyway, Brett, we thank you so much again for joining us. God bless you, my brother. And and we don't get a chance to talk to you anymore on Straight Talk. Thank you for listening and being a faithful listener to Straight Talk. God bless you now.
Bless you, man.
I know. Bye bye. You know, I just love Pastor Ramsey. He's just a great spirit, a great brother. You know, as we talk about, a lot of things, just want to say to these young people, want to encourage these young people to get out and vote.
Please, Lord.
Get out and vote. Do what you did. Do it again. Yeah. Be like that. Just do it. Just do it.
Keep doing it.
Because it's your future. It's your future. Yeah. Because people like myself and others will be going on off the scene. But you'll have to deal with what's happening now, because what's happening now is setting the stage for your future. If you don't know your history, learn it. And that was one thing that I did like about that 60 Minutes about African time. Yeah. About one of the mothers had her daughter. That daughter was talking about how knowledgeable she was about her family history. Her great grandfather, who came over on that slave ship, who became at one point free, and then his son, who was her mother's dad, right, who told them all the story. See, we don't tell our stories. We don't tell our story to our young people. We don't tell them the struggle that we've had as a people. I grew up, in the 50s and the 60s and riding on the back of the bus. So I had an opportunity to have some experience riding on the back of the bus, because when we got on the bus right there at Richards under the clock, we had to go on and get on the bus on the back, and we couldn't go any further than that area. We had to stand from that area back or sit in that area back. And if white people got on there, we had to give up those first seats behind where you stand there. Man, I was a kid. So I really didn't fully understand, because it was just grown folks said that's what you do, so that's what you do, and that's what we did. Didn't understand it, but that was an experience that we went through that kids today never had to go through. I remember going to H.L. Green downtown, which they shooting a lot of movies down there. H.L. Green and Woodworth, and those are stores that we went in, and of course, they had a dining area there. I remember they had the best slaw dogs, and the Coca-Cola looked like they were to die for. They had the Fountain Coke. But when you got them, you had to, you had to be in a certain section of area to get them. And then once you got the Coke and whatever, you had to be in a certain section, and you could sit down and eat it. So, but we, as kids, we didn't know that. We didn't understand that because it was just what we did. Right.
That's what Jeremiah Wright was talking about. That's what he was talking about.
I experienced.
Yeah. So when you whitewash that,
yeah,
you know what I'm saying? We have to be able to tell our story. You're absolutely right.
And see, we don't. I've shared it with my kids, and I told them about it, but they can identify with it because they can go anywhere they want to go, restaurants, or whatever. I remember, Shannon, and as a kid, I didn't understand this. But my dad was from Folk Valley, so we had to drive straight down 29. It was Highway 29, still is 29, all the way to Folk Valley till we got to a certain point down there. We got on another highway to get over into Folk Valley. But we couldn't go to the bathroom. My dad would stop side of the road, and we'd have to use the restroom on the side of the road because we couldn't go in the service stations or anything like that. So my dad had to gas up before we got here. We left here so that when we got to Folk Valley, we'd have gas, and then there was a certain place in Folk Valley where he'd gas up so we could come back. But didn't understand all that. We're kids, we just glad to be riding with our dad, going to see our grandma and my auntie and stuff. So we didn't understand all that. There was a train downtown, they call it Union Station, Terminal Station, where They built all, and they're doing the gulch and all of that now. The way we used to have to catch the train from that point to go down to Fort Valley where my dad didn't take us, and Mom would fix us a box, a piece of pound cake, a chocolate cake, and some cold chicken and a biscuit. And we ride down there, and we get off the train. My auntie would be waiting on us to walk us over to my grandma's house. Big Mama, we call her Big Mama, but that was our experience. But we as kids, we didn't understand that. We just did what our parents told us to do, and that's what we did. But later on, when you got to be an adult, and after the 60s, after Dr. King and Abernathy and all of them did that, then there was a better understanding of really what, and I grew up in West Hunter, it was a better understanding of what we were dealing with as kids that we didn't understand. Down the street was a place called Fann. It was like Six Flags. And we had a white assistant pastor, his name was Bud Walker. Bud Walker took us down there, the youth down there, to Funtown. And when we got there, we got there, got out of the church's van, and we walked around. We all excited, seeing the Ferris wheel, all these things, because we used to go into the fair. Each year they used to have the fair at Lakewood, so we used to go into the fair. So it was similar to the fair, just a little smaller. But when we got there, the white people on the Ferris wheel were spitting on us, and they was calling us all kinds of names. We didn't understand all that. We were ready to go to war. And he put us on the van, took us back to the church. And so, but that was our experience. That was what we went through.
On the basis of the color of your skin, on the basis of race.
Race. So I'm saying all this because young people need to understand we had a struggle. We struggled. We were fortunate we went to all black schools where we had black teachers who taught us, who cared about us, and shared love to us and helped us become who we are today. Yeah. And along with our parents who cared for us, who protected us, because I grew up on Hunter Street, which was a totally black contained community. Yeah, we had a Big Star there, we had a Jewish store there, in terms of the Jewish, there was some Jews there. Amos Drugstore was owned by black. Bronner Brothers was owned by black. You had Don Clendenner, everything down through there was pretty much black. You had a few, Fraser's Cafe, Pastor Brothers, Tips, Pharmacy and Restaurant. All this stuff was black. Cooper's Gulf Search, and they said we had no black Gulf Search, and there was one right there on Hunter Street. So we had a Busy Bee, Canopy Castle, Harold's Record Shop. All of that was black. The Ashby Theater that we went through, all that was owned by black. Henderson Travel Agency, Alley Pat Bonding Company, all these were black people. So our experience was totally the black experience, and it was a contained community ran by black people. By black people. So, Auburn Avenue, same thing. So that was our experience, and man, I tell you, I thank God for that. And unless you live the black experience, you do not understand. And I know Trina Bain, she listened to it. Trina could tell you a whole lot more about the black experience in Atlanta, Georgia. I wish we could get on today to talk a little bit about that. But the black experience, boy, it was something else.
And where did you get that today?
You tell me. Well, you can't get it rid of from all churches because
not all of them.
I don't care.
Not all of them. But see, I ain't talking about the ones that don't matter.
Okay, all right.
We pass the ones that we hold on to that historical, and we are relevant to the now, right? But we haven't thrown out the baby with the bathwater. When you get all this conversation about the church ain't this, the church ain't this, the church ain't that, but the African American story, our historicity, is taught in the black church.
I'm gonna see if I can get Trina.
It's taught in the church.
It is.
And if we forsake the fellowshipping together there, then it ain't happening anywhere else. It's not happening in our social lives anywhere else. It's not happening. So the church is very instrumental in safeguarding the story of how we made it over and how we continue. It has documented our walk with God and our walk with one another for the dignity of life. And so we can't forsake that, you know. Well, the churches lose that, you know, I don't go to church no more. Get back in the fellowship. Get back in the fellowship. If there's something wrong with the fellowship, speak up about it in the fellowship and make the fellowship better.
Well, I think one of the things is that we have tried to integrate ourselves into another experience, and in that culture where we try to get people to be, we want to be like Mike, we want to be like other folks, you know, and that's where our problem is, as opposed to being who we are and not trying to be who somebody else is, because that's not who we are.
The majority church that didn't have to come through our story.
Right. So, I mean...
And have to give the kind of hope that the church gave to a people that had to go through what you talked about.
Right, and if you look at... And if
keep your dignity.
And keep your dignity and your respect, because everybody in the neighborhood, your parent, everybody in the neighborhood could chastise you,
right.
And because they wanted to keep you straight, because they didn't want to see you, the police, dogging you out, because they knew what the police would do to a black kid. You know, and so they had prisons like Reedsville and Alto prison that, you know, did that what they were sending black kids to. Some kid, I mean, it really is. When I think about my life and how God has blessed me and kept me from all hurt, harm, and danger, and prepared me for this day, I'm just grateful to the people who have touched in my life, teachers. My pastor, Reverend Abernathy, the deacons and the mothers and the members of the West 100th Street Baptist Church, how they were influential in my life as a kid coming up in Sunday school and BYF. Sunday church was in a place where you got a lot of love, you know, and with a lot of correction also too. Yeah. You know, we had Vacation Bible School, and where we went from one church to another church during the summer month to Vacation Bible School. Pilgrim Travel, Reverend Poser Redner was a pastor at that time. But I mean, it's just that experience. I thank God for that experience. I really do. But I'm asking the young people today that's watching, parents, share this with your young kids. Tell them it's important that they vote. Stop running out the money, because all money is not good money. And if money will perish with you, you have to have what I believe Mr. Rosenberger has shown us. You have to have character. You have to have morals. You have to have your own values. And where do you place your values and your morals and your character on? Don't let it be your money.
That's right.
Let it be your God. Let it be the one that you're going to see in the final analysis.
That's
right? Because you won't stay here forever. You know, but you will have to leave here, and there will be a day of reckoning for what you've done. That's the preacher man in me, because I am Greg Fann, the preacher man. Well, Shannon, what do you have to say, man, as we get ready to close this out today?
I think you've touched on. It's been a great hour of just being together. I'm thankful for Reverend Ramsey, and just for this vehicle of Straight Talk. And I really wish that folks will use this vehicle more, because there's not a lot out there. I mean, we're unbought and unbossed.
Sure enough.
All right. So you can call in and have an authentic conversation. We don't have to cut it, because we're going to upset some advertisers. But speaking of which, we won't advertise. but we're not afraid. We're not corporate driven. We're not money driven. We're truth driven. And so we speak truth to power. And we want to have this kind of dialogue that we've had today. And we want others to get on with us like Reverend Ramsey, man. And come on, take the floor, and let's talk.
Let's talk straight talk right here with Greg Fann, the preacher man, and Shannon E. Jones. Shannon ain't going to throw anybody in the trash can today. He's not going to do no trash talking and throw nobody in the trash can today. What he's going to do today is he's going to tell you about somebody who needs to be uplifted, who needs to be praised, not torn down. We'll be back with Shannon and praise.
All right. Normally this is the time where we take out the trash, and last week we were talking about moving the president. We're still doing that, but we won't pause right now, and we just want to celebrate, uplift, and praise a story that is brought to us by the John Ossoff campaign. There was an ad for the Ossoff campaign talking about a restaurateur in the southwest Georgia town of Preston, Georgia. The restaurant is called Mom's Restaurant, and the owner and operator of that restaurant is Marilyn Crimes, C-R-I-M-E-S, Marilyn Crimes. Good sister who has been for all these many years running this family business that was passed on to her, this great family business that was a soul food restaurant in the community, but also did catering. And as we did the research on the restaurant, it was the go-to spot. Well, they're struggling today. In fact, they've had to shut off much of their business and lost all of their catering contracts. Why? Because when COVID hit, they didn't know it. But unfortunately, the ad shows and the data has shown that the senator knew about it, Senator David Perdue. And instead of coming back to Georgia and talking to restaurateurs and business owners like Marilyn Crimes, he went and sold off his stock. And he made his money. But Marilyn Crimes is struggling with her business, her family business. And so I just want to praise that wonderful sister because she stood up and she told her story. And she still has the fortitude to continue to keep standing and keep going. Shame on a sister and a senator that will hurt a good Georgian like that.
You know, and I had to come out here. Because I had to come out here on that one because, you know, this young lady had the courage. Yeah. I never heard of Preston, Joe. You? No. I mean, but she had the courage to stand up.
Sure it was still there.
Well, the reality of it is, but she had the courage to stand up and say, what this man has done is not right. Because you're putting small businesses out of business. And her business is not the only small business that's being put out of business. But when she's speaking, she's not just speaking for Marilyn and Mom's Restaurant. She's speaking for thousands of small businesses that have been shut down or closed down because of people like we've elected to office that have only been concerned or self-serving, only concerned about themselves and their families, and the heck with us and our family. And I want to thank Ms. Grimes and honor her today. That's a tribute to a black female, a mother, a grandma, an auntie that will stand up and have the courage to say that what you're doing is not right. You are hurting a lot of families. You know, the big companies, and we've been hearing this over and over again, the big companies, the Walmarts and the Targets and the Amazons and all these big companies that have millions and millions of dollars, they're making more money. But the smaller companies or businesses are being crushed. And businesses, small businesses really run this country.
And did you hear what she said? She said that not only did he sell off the stock and take care of himself, but then he cut it and stopped this and blocked the stimulus from being able to get to people like Marilyn, be able to get to small business owners like the ones we pastor in our church.
Absolutely. But I just want to just say today, right here on Straight Talk, you know, normally Shannon and I don't come on, but that was just so touching when I saw the commercial. I thought that was so touching that this lady would have the courage in a small town like Preston, Georgia, to stand up and say to those of us who live in the urban cities, listen, we're suffering down here, and we know that you're suffering up there, and your suffering is because of people who are taking care of themselves and can care less about the least, the less, the lost, and the left out. So Shannon, thank you so much for honoring her today.
It's real rough, man. You know, I had some trash talk. And I was going to pack this president, but we're going to deal with it tomorrow, but I'm happy that we did.
You don't have to worry about packing him. You don't have to worry about packing him.
No. He's not quite sure he's leaving.
Well, you don't have to worry about packing him. You have to worry about, you know what they did. You know they did to Vernon Jones? You know when they had to lift him up and carry him out? He's going to be ass surfing. They going to lift him up and carry him right on out of there. You got to leave our house. We don't care which house you go to, but you got to leave our house. You got to, but you got to leave. Well, thank you again so much, Shannon. Thank you.
Thank you, Mel.
Thank you.
For that courage to tell your story, because your story is an American story.
And remember, you can only hear stuff like this where on what? Straight Talk. Well, thank you so much for watching today and sharing with your Facebook friend and YouTube friends on program here on Straight Talk. There ain't nothing but Straight Talk right here. And listen, again, you can be a guest at Straight Talk. Just email straighttalk1362@gmail.com, or you can call 404-308-0795, or you can put a comment in our Facebook page and let us know you'd like to be a guest, and of course comments about the program and certainly what you think about the program. We do appreciate it. Don't forget about voting. If you have not registered to vote, your last day to register to vote is December the 7th, and it's coming fast. Early voting for the upcoming runoffs will be none other than the 14th of December is early voting, and the actual election date will be January the 5th. All right, January 5th, you have to go to your own polling place, but the 14th, they have early voting precincts that will be open so you can get out there and vote. We're especially saying to the young people, don't let this harvest pass. It's about your future. Make sure that you get out and vote. Make sure that you have counted one in the number, because if you don't vote, you don't count to yourself. Until next week, stay tuned to Straight Talk with yours truly, Greg Fann, the Preacher Man, and Shannon E. Jones. Join us each week right here on Straight Talk with yours truly, Greg Fann, the Preacher Man, and Shannon E. Jones. And again, if you'd like to be a guest, all you have to do is email us at straighttalk1362@gmail.com, or you can call area code 404-308-0795. That's area code 404-308-0795. It's Straight Talk.
Invite your Facebook and social media friends to check us out on Straight Talk with Greg Fann.